I can't believe that we worked so hard and researched and developed the habits of mind, and you made them come alive. And that is very exciting.
Welcome to South Fayette Middle School.
Habits of Mind Learning Community.
Borrowing Dr. Calick's words, we here at South Fayette Middle School do make the habits of mind come alive. From our students to our staff, in traditional learning spaces to after-school activities and clubs, we integrate the habits, all 16 of them, as much as we can so that they become a part of our school culture. As principal here at South Fayette Middle School, one of my philosophies is that students should be exposed to as many different opportunities and experiences in these middle level years so that they learn about passions, strengths, and interests that they didn't know even existed. And part of that is to incorporate the habits of mind so that they become lifelong practices for our students and not just exist within the building.
The habit of mind I feel I use the most is persisting. It takes hard work on the court and in the classroom.
We recently converted 4 of our traditional classroom spaces into less traditional spaces in which we call pathways. These pathways were designed to break down the idea that a certain content is learned in a certain space and that it must be learned within these 4 walls only. These pathways are designed to allow our students to dream, to create, to imagine, to design, and to problem solve. Not only were the rooms transitioned into these spaces for those purposes, but also to incorporate and to utilize the 16 habits of mind. One of the pathways is the prototyping pathway, in which you would see students coming up with an invention or creating something that they imagine that doesn't already exist, and relying on habits of mind such as thinking flexibly, also incorporating taking responsible risks, because oftentimes they don't know what the outcome of their design or their invention will be. Of course, in this pathway, we see a lot of creating, imagining, and innovating. In the Moving Image Arts pathway, much like the prototyping pathway, we encourage our students to create, imagine, and innovate. The students, however, in this pathway are using a set of different tools. They're using tools to create stop animation video, claymation productions, our monthly student-produced and directed news show, and a multitude of videos to support their learning in our classrooms. The students are also using the habits including finding humor, thinking interdependently, thinking flexibly, question and problem posing, and thinking about their thinking as they create these productions. The habits of mind continue to be used in our other 2 pathways, which are our graphic arts pathway and our robotics pathway. These pathways do support all of the learning in our traditional classrooms, but they also are used very frequently by our students before school, during non-instructional time like lunch, or a period in which we call activity period at the end of the day for exploration, or even after school and by community members. So when we are using the habits of mind in these spaces along with our classrooms and having our community members being a part of this, our habits of mind are extending beyond just our student population.
At South Fayette Middle School, all of our students participate in our PAWS program, which stands for Positive Actions Wanted School-Wide. It's a component of our Dignity and Respect campaign.
Through our PAWS program, we also infuse the habits of mind through the 3 pillars of our program, being service, tolerance, and career exploration. The first pillar of our PAWS programs finds students thinking interdependently while they are creating, imagining, and innovating service projects for their community. They are finding creative ways to help out fellow students and community members through finished projects, including fundraising for local charities, creating care packages for elderly residents at local nursing homes, and treating our community first responders to baked goods and handwritten cards. Students reacted with wonderment and awe as they were able to experience feedback from the recipients of these kind gestures.
In the career portion of our PAWS program, students engage in a variety of activities designed to allow them to identify their interests and abilities and apply past knowledge to new situations. We also encourage students to take responsible risks when selecting their high school classes and deciding what extracurricular opportunities to take advantage of.
One of the pillars of the PAWS program this year was celebrating diversity. And within this pillar, we hosted our first ever Mix It Up at Lunch Day. The students truly had to listen with understanding and empathy. During the event, the students were placed in a brand new seat at their lunch table, and they had to remain open to continuous learning of each other.
I'm a 6th grade language arts teacher, and I do focus on the habits of mind when designing my lessons for my classroom. A project that I got to be a part of was designing a cafe for the Energy Innovation Center. A group of middle-level students, other teachers, and other area schools teams worked with the Energy Innovation Center professionals to design this cafe space. They had to keep in mind the historical features of the building, as well as great focus on the Green LEED certified requirements. A few habits of mind that I could see for the students to actually put into action for this with great purpose would be questioning and problem posing. Another one would be thinking and communicating with clarity and precision. They had to definitely communicate clearly with their team members, the other team members, as well as the EIC professionals. And finally, thinking flexibly. It's not always easy to see your ideas change to meet the group's needs, but they showed great success with these.
As a way to incorporate the 16 habits of mind into our 8th grade science curriculum, our staff and students became involved in a sustainable project called the Seeds of Change Project. Beginning with one habit, the question and problem posing habit, the students were asked to think about how they could change the physical space of the middle school to make it more green and sustainable. Actually, as I think about this project and reflect on it, I can't think of a habit of mind that wasn't used throughout from start to finish of the thinking about changing the space, to reviewing the ideas submitted by all students, to coming up with the materials that they would use or how they would obtain the materials, to constructing the new spaces, to showcasing them for our staff, our students, parents, and community members. I think it was a full and comprehensive use of the 16 habits of mind.